Amid shattered cities and starving children, Israel's leaders speak of voluntary exile while destroying homes and blocking aid. And with over 61,000 dead, water turned to poison, and famine weaponized, the U.S. now holds humanitarian visas, citing pressure from extremists. Netanyahu's Trump plan and Smotrich settlement pushes for the worst scenario. Yet, 31 Arab and Islamic nations stand united, calling it what it is: ethnic cleansing. Is silence complicity, or is the world finally waking up? And I'm Salma El-Fi'i, and welcome to Think Tank.
Our world is becoming unhinged.
The U.S. today has reported that an Israeli researcher's article reveals that the occupation army's actions in Gaza align with the historical logic of Israeli military rule. The author argues these acts are the culmination of a policy aiming for Jewish supremacy and the erasure of the Palestinian rights. And the piece also emphasizes that Israeli officials openly declared intentions for total annihilation, employing siege, starvation, and widespread destruction. These actions reveal a clear plan to empty the strip of its residents. Ultimately, the figures illustrate the catastrophe. Over 90% of the Gazans were displaced and 92% of homes destroyed. The researcher concludes these measures leave Gaza's population with only forced expulsion or death. And according to The Guardian, the Israeli occupation army's announced plan to displace Gaza City residents is a dangerous escalation. The military claims this is for safety, but this contradicts reports of deadly attacks on designated safe zones and civilians waiting for aid. This exposes a clear humanitarian crisis with continued deadly attacks on civilians, including a baby in a tent. The systematic targeting of the residential areas, along with a blockade on aid, has led to a famine and numerous malnutrition-related deaths. This forced displacement is a continuation of ethnic cleansing aimed at emptying the northern Gaza, while international bodies warn of the catastrophic consequences. The occupation army's actions directly defy international law and raise serious questions about the stated objectives and the safety of Gaza's entire population. Haaretz highlights a stark double standard in Western foreign policy. Despite precedents like the responsibility to protect doctrine, which was invoked in Libya and Kosovo, Western powers are not intervening in Gaza, even with a far greater civilian death toll. It argues that this inaction is a deliberate choice. The United States has consistently vetoed UN resolutions, while European leaders, despite public sentiment, have also failed to act. The piece points to Israel's protected status as a key reason for this lack of intervention. And in the end, the analysis suggests that Western nations are prioritizing their relationship with Israel over their stated humanitarian principles. They are effectively abandoning their own values and allowing the tragedy in Gaza to continue without meaningful action, exposing a deep hypocrisy at the heart of their foreign policy. Destruction, hunger, people with nowhere to run. When leaders speak of voluntary exile and children starve under siege, what sounds like policy is in truth expulsion. And this is not war, this is a crime in plain sight.
Destroyed neighborhoods, starving children, the people trapped, and a prime minister's words, Gaza residents who want to leave will be able to leave. But is this voluntary departure or a slow-motion ethnic cleansing under siege? Israel claims movement is voluntary. Yet, since October 2023, it has enforced a complete siege. No food, no fuel, no medicine. Former Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant called it, "Everything is closed." Famine is not collateral damage, it is policy. The weapon is not just bombs, it's hunger. 470,000 Palestinians in catastrophic hunger. IPC Phase 5, one step from mass deaths. 251 dead from malnutrition. Infants buried in boxes. Mothers too weak to nurse. The WHO calls it man-made mass starvation. The ICC has issued arrest warrants for Netanyahu and Gallant, including for starvation as a war crime. Ideology fuels this tragedy. A former Israeli intelligence chief said, "They need a Nakba every now and then. Not revenge, a message, a call for collective punishment." South Africa has cited such statements in its genocide case at the ICJ. Meanwhile, extremist minister Bezalel Smotrich pushes the E1 settlement plan, annexing occupied land. The Arab Islamic world responds, 31 nations, one voice. Unity has finally arrived, but will it break the silence of the powerful? They condemn ethnic cleansing, demand a ceasefire, unconditional aid access, and Palestinian sovereignty. They name the U.S. caller to account. But Washington halts medical visas for Gaza's wounded. A child arrives at Dallas, then the door slams shut. The world's piece of right, but actions reveal complicity. So let us be clear. Voluntary displacement is expulsion under fire. Starvation is not failure, it is strategy. Silence is not neutrality, it is consent. The Arab and Islamic world has spoken. The law is clear. Now the question echoes, will the world finally listen?
And providing more analysis about the severe situation in Gaza and a trial to answer why is the international community not taking action to prevent ethnic cleansing in Gaza. And joining us from occupied Jerusalem is Dr. Munir Nusayba, the international law professor. And from Cairo is Mr. Ahmed Maharim, the writer and political researcher. Welcome, gentlemen, to Think Tank. And I will start off with Dr. Nusayba. Do you think, sir, is Israel's voluntary migration a plan for Gaza anything more than forced displacement under fire, maybe dressed in a legal camouflage, do you think?
The International Criminal Tribunal of former Yugoslavia has actually examined this question very clearly. And it has found that a transfer would be voluntary only if the person who has moved from one place to another has a genuine choice to move from that place to the other. However, if there are other ways of coercion used in order to force this displacement, including what we are witnessing today in the Gaza Strip. I mean, when you see what the Gaza Strip looks like, Israel has destroyed it totally. It has destroyed its medical institutions, its educational institutions. It is continuously starving the population and making them get to the conclusion that they have no life to live in Gaza anymore. Any human being leaving the Gaza Strip today does not really have a genuine choice to stay in the Gaza Strip. And if they leave, they are forced to leave. Hence, the Israeli government can call it voluntary transfer, they can call it whatever they want. But in the eyes of international law, this is forcible displacement, forcible deportation of a population, regardless of what the Israeli government wants to call it.
Yes. Mr. Maharim, do you think the Arab Islamic unity of the 31 nations finally a turning point, or just a diplomatic noise without maybe enforcement?
Well, unfortunately, it's hoped to be more than diplomatic, but it is diplomatic. No more what the United Nations for the last 2 years have done. There is so many issues came from the Security Council, from the General Assembly, from Africa, from different places, different NGOs against Israel. Nothing happened, and unfortunately, nothing will happen. Israel shows the international world that it is a country or a government above all. No claim, no hope that things will be changed. The only country, the only power in the world has an influence to Israel is America. Is Trump and the American diplomat able to do, would like to do? I think they are able to do, but they will not want to do because they want to defend Israel and they want to finish the story of Palestine. This is unfortunately fact. Everybody is turning around, is trying to do something better. But America has to do something it will never do because it does not have the wishes. They give a green line to Benjamin Netanyahu to do what he wants to do, unfortunately.
Dr. Nusayba, how does the International Criminal Court arrest warrant for Netanyahu and Gallant change the legal battlefield against starvation as a weapon of war, do you think?
I think this was a very important step. The International Criminal Court has confirmed that it has jurisdiction over the occupied Palestinian territory, which includes the Gaza Strip. The arrest warrants against Netanyahu and Gallant are binding to every country that is a member of the International Criminal Court. Yes, indeed, Netanyahu has already visited Hungary, which is a member of the ICC, which, of course, decided to refrain from arresting him. However, Netanyahu currently cannot travel safely around the world without being concerned about being arrested. There is a chance that at some point he will be arrested and held accountable for the crimes. But this is only part of the importance of this arrest warrants. These arrest warrants. The other important aspect of these arrest warrants is the fact that when Netanyahu and Gallant starved the Palestinian people and committed other war crimes and crimes against humanity against the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip, they did not do it in their own hands. They used Israeli state institutions in order to enforce these policies. For example, the starvation only happened because Israel managed to control the Gaza Strip and the borders of the Gaza Strip. They threatened to bomb any assistance that might come into the Gaza Strip without their authorization. They enforced that every truck that enters the Gaza Strip needs to be authorized by the Israeli occupation authorities. Therefore, it is the state itself that is responsible for the starvation of the Gaza Strip, and not only Netanyahu and Gallant and other Israeli politicians. So it's also important for other files, whether in the International Court of Justice, the genocide case, the International Court of Justice, also the Nicaragua versus Germany case and other cases. This evidence and these arrest warrants are a good indicator that these cases have merit.
Mr. Muharrem, why does the West always invoke, or let me quote, responsibility to protect in some wars, but why is it selective and not with children in Gaza starving?
That's, again, a kind of double measure. What happened in Ukraine, we see how much the refugees or the people, they left their own land in Ukraine, that they went to different countries in Europe. Women and children, that they were received gently, and I think they're still having a good time to enjoy their schools, their hospitals, their humanitarian needs, while the people of Gaza is absolutely different in a way. I don't think that Europe are on the favor to be honest enough to face what's happened as a Hungary. It's man-made Hungary kind of pressure to the Palestinians in order they can have no other choice except that they have to leave the country, and that's what the Israeli Benjamin Netanyahu government is trying to do. I think this is a kind of shame on the humanitarian side of all the countries, especially European, but something will happen soon to in case, show a kind of solidarity, of a kind of kindness from the international community towards the Palestinian people, even if it would come later, but it's better than never come.
Yes, well, Dr. Nusayba, do you think can the world claim neutrality if arms just keep flowing in and out and the UN remains paralyzed by vetoes?
Of course not. And I don't think the world has ever claimed neutrality. What is needed is that every state that has a stake in ending this genocide must act individually as well as with other states that it can work with collectively. Yes. Yes, indeed, the United States has been able to block the United Nations Security Council from reaching or deciding any decisive resolutions that will change the reality on the ground. However, there are other means to reach that, that pressure. Every individual country around the world can actually apply policies starting from ending any way of weapons trade with Israel, but also transferring weapons to Israel through their ports. And indeed, we have had a number of countries that have decided to take this initiative and formed a group that was called the Hague Group, which has decided recently in July to not only refrain from trading arms with Israel, but also make sure that no ship that is carrying weapons to Israel can actually stop at their shores. And they have also decided and agreed to start to work to hold Israelis accountable for their crimes. So these types of initiatives exist. What we need is more and more collaboration.
Of these initiatives, absolutely.
Exactly, more states.
Yes. Mr. Muharrem, is Netanyahu's Trump plan, as he calls it, really about peace or just the final step in a decades-long project of elimination?
Well, I don't think that anybody in the world is able to believe what Netanyahu is talking about, what Mr. President Trump is talking about. It's all matter of they go after their dreams. I mean, there is a green line, big green line from the American administration, Trump personally, to be Netanyahu to finish the job. Always he repeats this statement to Netanyahu: "Did you finish the job?" Means there is an agreement individually between both of them that the Palestinian will not have any chance to leave. 2 weeks ago, the United Nations have addressed a very important meeting, General Assembly, the France President and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They were talking in 2 days, very sensitive talk about the future of two states, Palestinian state and Israeli state. But in those 24 hours in 2 days, nobody was talking about the damage happening, the killing happening. I mean, they are talking about the future, and the future is a kind of dream. I don't think that there is a hope. At the end of the tunnel, Israel is going to do what it's planning to. They are moving to occupy fully the Gaza Strip. I don't think there is anybody in the world is trusting what Netanyahu is talking about and what the administration of America is talking about as well.
Dr. Nusayba, do statements like a Nakba every now and then prove genocidal intent under the International Court of Justice?
They are part of the proof of the genocidal intent, but there is much more than the use of the Nakba. Indeed, there is a very significant stream within the Israeli political spectrum that believes that the mass displacement of Palestinians back in 1948 was the best thing that the Zionist movement has done in its history, and it was the way for Israel to become a Jewish state by basically displacing the majority of the population that lived in Palestine. Then they feel that this job has never been finished and that this is a great opportunity to finish that job again and to create a new Nakba, which has already been created actually in the genocide that is ongoing currently in Gaza, but also in the great violations that are taking place in the West Bank. So yes, that's part of the evidence of the genocide, but the Israeli politicians have said and have done a lot of other, they have said statements and they have implemented what was said in these statements, that there is no doubt now for any expert of international law, any genocide expert, any human rights organization, that what's happening today in Palestine, especially in Gaza, is certainly a genocide.
Yeah. Mr. Muharrem, when Israel bombs bakeries, hospitals, and water lines, do you think it's fighting Hamas or eliminating Gaza as a place for the Palestinians to exist?
It's not fighting Hamas, it's fighting the Palestinian human. Hamas is a group of people, they are trying to defend their country. But 2 million people, they are not all Hamas. There is a couple of thousands that are Hamas. They are not reaching Hamas. And it seems like in 2 years, a military of Israel is trying to fight Hamas, and the war is not ending yet. They are killing the Palestinians, and the objective is to reach this point that the Palestinian has to be enforced to leave countries and go somewhere else, and that is the main objective. Hamas is a reason for Israel to do what they are doing. They damage 80% of the land. It is not a place where people can live, and that kind of documents have been declared by all the United Nations staff. They vetted Gaza, unfortunately.
Dr. Nusayba, is the U.S. now, it's been halting medical visas for Gaza's wounded. Do you think this is a humanitarian act or aiding a crime by denying escape, in your opinion?
In my opinion, it's very consistent with the U.S. policies, especially that. Yeah. It aligns with it. The U.S. has been contributing to the Israeli genocide in many different ways. And the United States is currently run by a group of right-wing fanatics who are very racist against Palestinians and against other nations, by the way, around the world, and not only Palestinians. And now that they have noticed that there are some Palestinian children and adults who are getting medical care in the United States, invited by humanitarian NGOs who want to serve humanity, these politicians started lobbying the US administration to block visas to all Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. And without much lobbying and without much work, indeed, the Trump administration decided to respond and to ban Palestinians from getting visas in a blanket ban, which is obviously, it lacks due process, it lacks any humanitarian principles, and it is just, very consistent with the Israeli, with the ongoing U.S. policy towards the genocide in Palestine, which basically support to genocide.
Mr. Muharrem, if silence equals complicity, who do you think in today's world has the courage to break it?
Well, I think silence is a matter of time. It will never be always silent because there is so many voices, and those voices are reaching different places. It reaches the United Nations, it reaches the International Court. Sometime, and I think very soon, the matter of silence will break out, and it will be something against Israel, and it will affect the atmosphere of the American policy around the world. So America sooner or later will realize that their defending of no limit with Israel will put the American strategy and American policy in a matter. So many voices inside America now are calling. They said we are a nation under danger. America is a nation under danger of what we are doing for Israel.
Dr. Nusayba, with settlements expanding in the West Bank and Gaza under siege, do you think the two-state solution is vanishing in the air despite the diplomatic lip service?
I mean, this is exactly the aim of the current government. They are doing their best in order to make sure that there is no independent Palestinian state can actually exist in the world.
Yeah.
When it comes to their colonization programs, whether in the West Bank or probably what we might be seeing in the future in Gaza as well, if this genocide doesn't stop and is not reversed, will certainly contribute to changing the facts on the ground, to changing the demography.
Mm-hmm.
While Israel is consistently and continuously displacing Palestinians from their homes and replacing them with colonial settlers in a way that will change the demography. This does not only risk the two-state solution, but it also risks any other solution for that matter. At the end of the day, colonialism that the Israeli regime is implementing is based on Jewish superiority and the erasure of the Palestinian people gradually. So unfortunately, they are succeeding in what they are doing.
Well, Mr. Muharrem, despite the global outrage and there's no accountability, do you think impunity has become Israel's real policy in this war?
We hope so. But I think there is so many countries that have different kind of political, economical, long-term deals with Israel. Sometimes they show solidarity with Arab and Gaza or Palestinian people, but on the long term, we don't have anything tangible on the ground to say that it is a real assistance. It is real. We have seen so many envoy ships came from Turkey, from Cyprus to stand with the Palestinians and the Israeli government. We know exactly what happened in front of the international world by the televisions, by the media outlets. I think nobody will be able to do a kind of accountability to Israel except the United Nations. And the United Nations always have the struggle of America veto. Hope things will come differently seen to be a big hope to Palestinians in the future.
And that was Dr. Munir Nusayba, the international law professor, and Mr. Ahmed Muharrem, the writer and political researcher. Thank you so much, both gentlemen, for your special insights and this valuable discussion. Displaced people, a silent world, not neutrality, but it is complicity. The truth is clear, the time to act is now. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of Think Tank, which always unveils the complexities of our changing world. Thank you so much for watching, and do stay tuned for more updates on Q News.